What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. And you know what? I thought this article was kind of interesting, talking about some of the behind the scenes issues that still exist over there at Marvel, okay? And what they're going to do about it. And as you can see on this article from the Direct, Kevin Feige reportedly changing his strategy on MCU director hiring, all right? And you might be wondering, well, why does he have to change his strategy? What's been going on? What's different about how he used to, run Marvel versus what he's doing right now? And it's clear that Kevin Feige, unfortunately, thought he was the genius behind this whole thing when it really comes down to the creatives that are working for him. You guys will remember that first phase was just a wealth of filmmaking experience, okay? You had guys like Jon Favreau, you had Joe Johnston, all right? You had Kenneth Branagh, you had Joss Whedon, okay? These guys had years and years of filmmaking experience under their belts, okay? They were vets. They knew what they were doing, all right? And Kevin Feige just had to say, hey, here's what we're going to do. Those guys, we got it, Kev. We on the job. And they were taking care of business, okay? And then that continued all the way through phases 2 and 3. You had James Gunn join them, okay? That guy had a whole lot of filmmaking experience going back to the early 2000s with Scooby-Doo writing things and things like that. And then, of course, you had the Russo brothers who had, their experience in television, but nevertheless, understanding the filmmaking process, had a big, long resume. Their IMDb was fat, full of projects that they had worked on, okay? So you could bring the Russo brothers in and not skip a beat from anything that was going on in phase 1. But what happened after that, okay? In phase 4, Kevin Feige went full, hey, we're just going to hire all kinds of cats coming in here, diversity hires, okay? That's really what it was. A lot of diversity hires, a lot of people of color, a lot of women, all right? Instead of, focusing on, hey, let's hire good directors, okay, who know what the hell they're doing. No, we're going to give this project to people that maybe just had 1 or 2 films under their belt, all right? And this article talks about it. Let's go ahead and jump into this. So a new rumor suggested that Marvel Studio president Kevin Feige is now changing his strategy when it comes to hiring behind the camera talent for the MCU. While the Marvel Cinematic Universe hired plenty of established talent in the past, it's previously been successful discovering lesser-known talents. The biggest example of this would be the Russo brothers, who previously only directed sitcoms for television before going on to handle 2 of the biggest films of all time. Yeah, and they talk about the Russo brothers being the biggest example. They only had directed sitcoms for television before that, but that's not true. Look at this. Now, this is the Russo brothers Wikipedia, right? And yeah, you can see prior to Captain America, the Winter Soldier, when they first entered, they had 3 films that they directed under their belt, okay? You, Me, and Dupree, Welcome to Collingwood, and then this small film Pieces, all right? And then they were executive producer on this film Crashing, okay? And then they went and they did a whole lot of sitcoms, as they were correct about: Arrested Development, all right, Carpoolers, Community, all right? They had a lot of stuff under their belt, though, okay? These guys weren't new to the game. They had been in film, in Hollywood, doing a lot of different projects, okay? So these guys were vets. They knew what they were doing when they stepped in and took over Captain America Winter Soldier. A more recent example would be WandaVision director Matt Shakman, who's now leading the charge on the Fantastic Four. The hit Disney Plus series showrunner Jack Schaefer was even hired again as Marvel Studios to be involved in 2 other projects. Despite wins like those, I don't call those wins, but whatever. However, Marvel Studios continues to struggle when it comes to the reception of many of its recent projects. This includes 2023's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which was penned by Jeff Loveness, a talented writer with a limited filmography outside of Rick and Morty. Yeah, how do we know people are talented, okay? You guys calling him a talented writer, all right? But if he writes a turd called Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, is he talented, okay? The jury is still out. Maybe this guy has some hidden talent that he didn't bring out in Ant-Man, all right? But nevertheless, it's just hilarious how they read this stuff. So once again, of course, it's Jeff Sneider dropping this information. A new rumor from insider Jeff Sneider, while speaking on the hot mic, potentially revealed that Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige is looking to adjust how the company hires some of its biggest creative. Sneider noted how he was told that Feige does want to hire more established talent behind the camera. Back in June of 2022, sources told Deadline's Justin Kroll that after not having to worry about watching over Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness every moment of its production, Feige was hoping for more of the same with the Fantastic Four. Kevin Feige doesn't want to oversee the entire shoot, and after not having to worry about that with Sam Raimi, he is very game to the same outcome with the Fantastic Four's shoot. Yeah, you see, Marvel basically had its formula, all right? And Kevin Feige was just so sure that the formula was going to work, all right? And so he would just go out there and, yeah, we can throw anybody in there, okay? We can hire whoever we want to hire. It doesn't matter, all right? And look, these guys don't need any creative input. I'm the creator, okay? I'll have the screenwriters do what I'm telling them to do. I'll have the directors do what I'm telling them to do. I get all the credit. All right, well, Kev, if you get all the credit, you get all the blame too, all right? Like, check this other article out. This is very interesting. So you can see this article right here that I saw on worldofreal.com. Fired MCU exec told a director that Marvel directs the movies, okay? And of course, that fired exec is Victoria Alonso. This guy says, I'm not interested in the former Marvel executives Victoria Alonso, not to mention her controversial firing. That's kiddie stuff as far as I'm concerned, but I absolutely love how she let the cat out of the bag by berating an unnamed Marvel filmmaker. The recently fired Alonso reportedly told the Marvel director who helmed one of the biggest movies the studio has ever put out that he did not direct the movie, but that Marvel, directs the movie. So here's what it was. So here it is. Marvel systematically harvests directors from the Sundance Film Festival, someone who's directed some cheapo movie that got a lot of buzz, that has a lot of heart, a lot of originality, and then they suddenly prop them up with a 9-figure budget for the first time. These people, by and large, do not have any experience with VFX. I'm talking about Taika Waititi, Chloe Zhao, Ryan Coogler. This guy says Fleck and Bowden, all these filmmakers that they bring into the MCU, they do so knowing that they are not technical wizards. Yeah, around the time of Victoria Alonso's dismissal, I was DMing with a extremely well-known director who works on a Marvel film, and she was relating some remarks that Victoria said to her about another filmmaker who directed, let's just say it was one of the biggest movies ever put out. She was talking about this guy, and she said they don't direct the movies. We direct the movies, meaning the filmmakers we hire don't have creative control over the look of their films. Gee, you think? I won't speculate who the berated filmmaker might be here. I'm thinking it's Ryan Coogler myself. All right. But it says here, yeah, it's no secret that in every Marvel movie, the big wigs take control of the creative process, but you still need a director to direct the various crews, units, cinematographers to do their jobs. Alonso is probably not lying here. And then he goes on talking about how, yeah, it's a collaborative effort, but basically the director doesn't really direct in the purest sense of the term. He or she just overlooks and hopes for the best. Yeah, I think that's exactly what's been going on over there at Marvel. That's why the formula feels just so generic and bland. All right. Because these directors that are coming in, they don't really have any control over anything, all right? They don't have any creative control. And this kind of crap is what happens when you think you're the genius, Kevin Feige, all right? You don't let creatives be creative, okay? And now, fortunately, he's going to have to shift things up, okay? And hire some people with some real creative juice, all right? Some guys with some chops that have done the job before, all right? He's going to have to let those people go back and do the work, all right? Instead of him getting all the credit for hiring all these diversity hires and everything. Let me say this. On the surface, the idea of bringing in young, talented filmmakers, okay, and giving them a shot, saying, hey, we're going to bring you guys in. We're going to give you like something you could put on your resume, a big film, a Marvel film. You could drop that on your resume. You did it. You accomplished that. All right. There's nothing wrong in the sense of doing that. All right. It's giving people some experience that they never would have gotten, maybe 10 years down the line or something after they had a few more films under their belt, so in a sense, there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, there's everything wrong with it, okay? Because what ends up happening is this guy is directing the film, as it says. Marvel's directing. The director doesn't really direct, all right? Again, they're just like glorified babysitters, they're just telling everybody, all right, make sure you get your, your stuff done, a cinematographer, crews and all of that. Make sure you guys are doing what you're doing. And he's just kind of an overseer, but he's not really directing the film. It's going back to the studio executives who are handling all of that kind of stuff, especially in the editing bay. Hey, shoot all of this material, shoot everything in production. And then probably Kevin Feige is going over it with a fine tooth comb in post-production. Victoria Alonso was handling the effects. All right. And everybody is just kind of putting this movie together instead of actually allowing the director to do his job, or her job in this case. Even if the rumor changes are true, it's hard to believe that Marvel Studios would be completely against working with lesser established talent. Discovering those types of creators has been a staple ever since the MCU was created. Marvel Studios wouldn't completely turn its back on those options. Again, this isn't how Marvel used to operate, okay? Where they say ever since the MCU was created. Again, first film was directed by Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau had a ton of experience making films, okay? Second film, I think it was Incredible Hulk. Louis Light Sneider or whatever, I can't pronounce the guy's name, okay? He had a ton of things under his belt, all right? And then you get to Kenneth Branagh, all right? Obviously an accomplished filmmaker, an accomplished storyteller in and of his own right, all right? And then you got Joe Johnston. I mean, that guy is a legend, you know. He had directed, let me show you his work. Yeah, this is the Wikipedia for Joe Johnston. And you can see Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, The Rocketeer, The Page Master, Jumanji, October Sky, Jurassic Park 3, Hidalgo, The Wolfman. I mean, this guy had a ton of films under his name. Big name films, okay? Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Are you kidding me? All right. The Rocketeer. All right, this guy knew his stuff. He'd been making films since way back in the 80s. All right, you can't say that this guy was some kind of a new jack to this whole thing. Are you kidding me? These guys don't know what they're talking about sometimes when they mouthing off or whatever. But yeah, I think Marvel's definitely going to have to go back to getting like established filmmakers. Okay, people that know what they're doing. Kevin Feige is not the genius he thought he was, and they need to do the same thing in television. They need to get real showrunners, people that have ran shows before. All right, and they know the ropes. All right, they know what they're doing. They don't have to sit there and be babysat, and they can be creative on their own, and they don't have anything to worry about. Nah, Kevin's not going to pull the rug out from under you. All right, you know, he respects you too much. You're an established filmmaker or an established showrunner. That's where this thing needed to go. Again, you can see once again, this is where Marvel was falling all to pieces, okay? Doing crap like this, hiring lesser known talents, okay? And then Kevin Feige trying to say, I'm the genius. I knew what I was doing this entire time, all right? Clearly he didn't. Anyway, folks, what do you think about this situation? I just thought it was an interesting commentary on what's going on behind the scenes at Marvel, okay? You know, sometimes it's not always about Marvel being woke. Sometimes it's just, well, I guess this does have to do with them being woke because it was just a bunch of diversity hires that they were hiring in phase 4, all right? A lot of diversity hires didn't work out, unfortunately. So, yep, it's back to the original plan, hire good talent. But go ahead, guys, jump down in the comments, give me your thoughts and your opinions on that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.